This is a cool instrument here, a 1960 lap steel by Gibson. And it has the same logo like a 1959 Flying V would have. It's made of Carina wood. It has the same knobs, and it has an inked-on serial number, just like the cool Carina Flying V or Explorer would have. So this kind of in that family. I think for a lap steel, it's the coolest. I opened my guitar store in January of 1975, and that's when I started collecting vintage guitars. This is a 1961 Les Paul Jr. You'll see this same guitar in Tom Wheeler's American Guitars book. When Tom was writing that book, he requested photographs of vintage guitars, and he used 18 different guitars that I had in my collection. This guitar has been hanging here for at least 30 years, and if you'll notice the finish, it's attractive. It's brown, but it's supposed to be cherry red. It hasn't been hanging in direct sunlight. It's just the fluorescent lights here in the store have faded it. When I realized that was happening, I looked into it and found out that there's such thing as a UV protective tube that you put over your lights. And so now I have these over all the fluorescent light tubes in the store. And that's supposed to cut down 92% of the UV rays, so I feel better about this now. Here's another guitar that's been hanging here for at least 30 years. And it's, appears to be orange on the front, but it was originally red. So I'm only finding that with the red guitars that they can fade. Here's a guitar that's sunburst, and it's been hanging here just as long as those other two. And it looks great, front and back, neither is faded. So I guess it's the red pigment that can fade because of UV lighting. This is a 1963 blonde Fender Bassman. Something interesting about the blonde Tolex Fender amps is that when you see a brown spot like this, you'd naturally assume that it's a cigarette burn. But that's not the case. That's actually, the cabinet is made out of pine wood, and that's where a knot is in the wood, and it produces sap that discolored the Tolex. So please don't ever recover an amp because it has brown spots like this, because the brown spot is supposed to be there. Guitars that are made by Harmony will often have a date stamp inside. The number up near the neck block with the H in the middle, the H means that it's made by Harmony, but that doesn't tell you the year. The date stamp is actually right straight through the sound hole, and on this one it says FL-59, that's fall of 1959. It's rubber stamped. Most Harmonies have this information, but sometimes it's stamped so lightly you can't read it. Made in USA. Some guitars from the late 30s and early 1940s will have these pig-shaped decals. These are actually the initials of the original owner. It's something that Montgomery Ward offered when you bought the guitar from them. I know this man's name, he got this when he was a child, but his name was Edward, who owned this guitar. Down below here, this is a lap steel, and it has decals saying CAM. This belonged to Claude Montgomery.
I've got that deluxe from 65 also. I wish it was a real thing, but that deluxe.
Another cowboy guitar there has the initials of OSB.